Okay, wait a minute. Okay, guys, Brad. Once Brad gets settled in, are you settled in there, guy? You good? You good? All right. Welcome to the Lower Paxton Township Authority meeting for Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. My name is Dave Blaine. I'm the chairman of the board. Welcome to everybody. First item of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Ramsey. Please rise. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Mr. Ramsey, thank you. All right, first item of business is the approval of the minutes from April 27th, 2021. Everybody should have those minutes. Had a chance to read those minutes? Weren't they exciting minutes?
I liked them.
Is there a motion to approve the authority minutes from April 27th?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the authority board meeting as of April 27th, 21.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Zumas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Navarro. Any further discussion? I think we can do this by voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right. Next item is public comment. There's no public in here to have comment, so we will move on from public comment. Next item will be chairman and board member comments. Any chairman or board, any comments from the board?
I just have one, but it's not pertaining to sewer. But since we are not going to be...
The rules here.
Well, the supervisors, it will be over when we meet next week. So next Tuesday at 8 o'clock on A&E, Officer Rex and Officer Chase, which are our K-9s, they will be on Top Dog. So it comes on at 8 o'clock, and Officer Rex and Officer Chase are supposed to be on at 9 o'clock. So please tune in.
A&E. Is this an A&E biography?
American
on
and
Chase and
Entertainment.
Rex?
What's it called? American
Arts and Entertainment.
Arts and Entertainment. Yeah.
They do some great biographies. That's why I thought maybe they were doing a biography on Chase and Rex.
No, they were on. I don't want to give it away. They were on Top Dog, so they'll be featured next Tuesday.
A&E, Top Dog, Chase and Rex. Can't wait. Sounds exciting. Okay. Any other board member comments?
Nope.
All right. Hearing none, let's move on to the general authority business. First item, very, very dear to my heart, approval of the independent auditor's report for the 2020 authority financial statements. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Weaver, and he's going to give us a detailed rundown of the MD&A and all the financial statements in the audit report.
Absolutely. Thank you. My mic went off. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. You have in your packet my memo. Actually, the memo is directed this year from myself and Brittany Brady, who's here to answer questions as well, our new accountant for the authority. But essentially, the board has seen these audits many times. It includes the MD&A, which staff prepares. Also includes the financial statements, which basically is the statements of net position, statements of revenues, expenses, changes in net position, statements of cash flows, and the notes to the financial statements. From staff's perspective, we always like to point out the financial highlights, which the board is always interested in, and we do give these updates as part of the budget as well. But specifically on page 16 in the statements, you'll see that the total cash at the end of 2020 is $25,351,176, and that represents $21,963,882 for sewer and $3,387,794 in the stormwater fund at the end of 2020.
Fast reader.
The total restricted cash for the bond funds is $36,769,332. And
Right down here.
yes. And that represents $29,542,850 for sewer and $7,226,842 for stormwater. And then on page 28, I wanted to call to the board's attention our long-term debt. I know that's always of interest to the board. And you can see at the end of 2020, we had $142,217,018. And that represents $133,532,018 for sewer and $8,685,000 for stormwater. And basically this increase from 19 to 20, you'll note in 19 our total debt was 113 million, and you can see in 2020 it's 142, and this is essentially, as the board recalls, in 2020 we borrowed 29 million to fund the BC2 and the BC7 cap projects. So final comments are basically provided under page 12 of the MD&A, and that is that fiscal year 2020 continued to be a trend of strong financial performance for the authority, and this current strength is needed to ensure a sufficient revenue for these annual debt service payments required to fund the DEP required sewer cap improvements and the new MS4 stormwater improvements. That essentially concludes my report, and again, Brittany and I are here to answer any questions you have. We do ask that the board consider a motion to approve the 2020 and 2019 authority financial statements as presented.
All right, Mr. Weaver, thank you. Miss Brittany, thank you very much. Well done with the financial statements. I had the privilege and the honor to get a chance to read those statements.
Yeah.
So it's such excitement getting to read those audit reports. But it's an unqualified opinion, which means it's clean. There's nothing in there that would say that there's any issues. I do believe that they had one comment that the auditors made, but that comment was really, quite honestly, cleared with the hiring of Brittany in our financial function, and I think that will be cleared in the future without a problem. So
I agree. Yes, they did leave that in for 2020.
yeah, which
Yep.
I have some thoughts on that, but I'll refrain from making those comments publicly. So overall, though, I don't think there's any comments or questions. I just want to say thank you to staff again. Well done with making sure that we have a clean audit report. We have good management over our financial operations, and accounts are reconciled. Everything seems to be in order. Any questions for board members? Okay, hearing none. Let me get out of here. Go back to the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the independent auditor's report, as well as the AUC 260 and 265 letters? Any comments? Any motions to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the independent auditor's report as presented by Mr. Weaver.
Motion on the floor by Ms. Lindsay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Navarro. Any further discussion? All right, I think we do this by voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right, we have the audit report approved. Second item of business is Resolution 2112, amending the stormwater fee application of payments and amendment to the billing policy for the application of payments. Again, it looks like it's you, Mr. Weaver.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. In your packet, you have Resolution 2112, which revises the application of payments for all sewer and stormwater payments. Specifically, staff discovered that the billing software override that we established to apply payments to stormwater users first has created significant additional handling to manually adjust accounts in collection with modern recovery. So essentially, after talking with Steve, when we first established the stormwater fee, we thought it would be beneficial to put it to the stormwater fee first, because it was really unknown how the collections would go, because it was relatively new. However, when we talked to Logix, our billing provider, it is a standard practice in billing and collection to have the charges go to the oldest charges first. So we reviewed that with Steve. He didn't see a problem with collecting the stormwater fee. In fact, Nally is in the process of sending our first batch of delinquent stormwater fees to Mr. Stein for collection. So essentially, Resolution 21-12, all it does is revise that the application of payments be applied to the oldest charges first. Steve and I reviewed with the board a few years ago. The resolution in its entirety is needed, because we don't want these trails of amendments and then trying to piece them all together. So that is the complete original stormwater fee resolution, just with the amendment that we are changing it to apply it to the oldest charges first. And this also will, by motion by the board, revise the policy as well. This creates a lot of paperwork, unfortunately, a minor thing like this. We have to also revise Section 7.6, payments under the billing policy, to have the same language that, in accordance with standard billing and collection practices, that all payments be applied to the customer's oldest charges first. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Weaver? I will say, Bill, it does make a lot of sense that instead of having constant amendments, let's just have the document completely cleaned up.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're not trying to track down when an amendment was made, how did the amendment affect the previous document. It's better to just have it that way, so I agree. Any questions for Mr. Weaver? All right, hearing none, is there looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2112? Any takers?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 21-12, amending the stormwater fee application of payment and an amendment to the billing policy for the application of payments.
You having trouble reading that, were you?
Yeah, it's like lost my place.
All right, Mr.
Well
Navarro
done.
has a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Zumas. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, let's do this by voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right, moving right along. All right, let's move on to the Stormwater Fund. Township reports, PennDOT, CRW, JP, RP, MS4 sediment reduction project update.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as you may recall, we had a special presentation on the Stormwater Fund in March, where we provided a comprehensive PowerPoint on what the 5-year capital plan was for stormwater, which included our joint pollution reduction plan. At that time, it didn't have complete information on the projects themselves, just estimated cost. We are getting closer to finalizing these costs. We have monthly meetings with the partners, and PennDOT does participate as needed. So you'll find in my memo that we, the joint group, partnered with PennDOT for $2 million. Each party put in $1 million. And as part of that, the contractor, RES, has submitted their BMP design, which provides that we will receive 677,840 pounds. When you look at what we contributed for $1 million, that equates to $1.47 a pound. The engineer's estimate, with prevailing wages that we have to use, for the whole project was anywhere between $5 to $10 a pound. So this is significant savings compared to those costs. So based on this information, we asked if they'd be interested in a change order. They agreed. We got a quote for that, and you can see in Table 2, if you scroll down below, Table 2 does not really show it beneficial to do a change order for Table 2, because when you subtract 735,340 minus 677,840, that only leaves you with $8.70 a pound for 57,500. So that's Table 2 below is the total 735. So RES was looking at it more of a total project and not a change order. So we can make a counteroffer, but we don't anticipate that that's going to turn out to be advantageous for any of the group. Moving on, if there's no questions on the original contract, my point about the change order leads me into my next discussion, which PennDOT has reached out and is willing for us to participate in a new contract they just awarded, and it's for the Chesapeake Bay Watershed Sediment Reduction Credit Project. And I included the contract specs in your packet. So this is a $2,500,000 contract. They estimate the cost would be $3.49 a pound, and that would equate to an additional 537,000 pounds for the group. And then I just provided a summary total. If in fact we do get the 166 for Stonebridge, plus the original PennDOT contract, you're at 844,000. So you're already at 50% of your 1,694 goal. And if we add in the Chesapeake Bay PennDOT project, you could legitimately get to 82% of your goal in the next 2 to 3 years. So this is very encouraging. So as a contingency plan, we are pushing PennDOT and the partners because HRG keeps reminding me that these projects take a long time to design and build. So as a contingency, we are planning on, if we don't do the second PennDOT job, then we have to meet as a group and pick some projects and get started on the design. So our goal is to wrap up all these PennDOT contracts by the end of this year, so we can go into 2022 with an understanding to all the boards with the partners group if we're going to do a PennDOT project or we're going to do a joint bid ourselves. But if this turns out the way it looks, again, this is really good news for the authority and the partners because it's at a significant savings when you look at the $5 to $10 a pound compared to what we can get with the RES projects and the second PennDOT project. So that concludes my report on the Stormwater Fund and the joint PRP, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Weaver, not specific to this, but weren't we looking at a project of partnering with other municipalities to reduce the cost of stormwater? Did that go away, or?
That would be the county program, and that really would lead into Jason Hines' engineer's report because he can provide you some information. They are getting closer to presenting an agreement to all the municipalities, I believe, but Jason would be the better person to answer that question.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Okay, Mr. Weaver, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the engineer's report. How's our guy Bob Grubik? How's he doing? Good. Good. And how's your CFO over there, Alan Snyder? How's he doing?
Working out well.
Is he working out well?
He is. He's been with us now for
A little over a year.
almost over a year.
Yeah. Good.
I'll start off with answering board member.
Is the green light on, Jason?
Okay, I think we got it now. All right, well, good evening, everybody. I'll start by trying to shed some light on Board Member Zumas's question. So the county program right now is it's being reviewed by the county solicitor's office. So it's been there for some time. We're expecting to get some more information on their review here very soon. That'll be passed on to the municipalities that showed interest in the program. So more to follow on that here in the next coming weeks. I believe that all of you got my report in your packet. You could tell that we were very busy advancing stormwater projects and MS4 related items over the past few months. There's nothing in the report that I need to call your attention to. However, I am happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Okay. Any questions for Jason, HRG, at all? Your report is pretty thorough, so I don't see very detailed too. Very well done.
Thank you.
Any questions? Wow, we're just moving right along. I think this board has stuff to do tonight. All right, I think we got no questions on the engineer's report. There's no action that needs to be taken to approve it, so let's move right on to the sanitary sewer fund. You get home now, okay?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we only have one agenda item for new business under the sanitary sewer fund. and that is Resolution 2113. The board has, again, seen these condemnation resolutions many times. This is just for one large sewer easement that goes down through a farm in the Spring Creek 2B project. This project was entitled to be lined. However, this sewer is recommended to be replaced because it's clay pipe and it's in really bad shape, and we don't trust lining it. There's too many breaks in it. The documents have been transmitted to the property owner and have not been returned. So again, we will continue to try to negotiate and acquire, but as always, we like to have the resolution approved so Mr. Stein and the manager can proceed if needed. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Weaver on Resolution 2113 authorizing the condemnation of a sanitary sewer easement for the SC2B sewer replacement project? If there is no questions, is there a motion to approve Resolution 2113?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution 2113 authorizing condemnation of a sanitary sewer easement for SC-2B sewer replacement project as presented by Mr. Weaver.
Mr. Zumas, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Uh-oh. Bob jumped in here with a second, so we got a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I think we can do this by voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Good job. All right, let's go on to township reports. Mini basin construction project status update.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'll be brief for several reasons. First, Tim and Jim are off this evening. Tim's at the beach, so he did provide his report. You have it in your packet. Of course, Tim goes through a lot more than I would, but basically you can see in his report that the contract is 46% complete. Dolly's been doing a great job. They're moving along. We expect to have the project done by the end of the year, short of punch lists. We hope to get the base paving and most of the yards done, and this project will require a time extension for them to finish the yards and the paving by probably May of next year. With that said, I do want to note what a fine job our staff has been doing. As the board members are aware, because of COVID, we believe we've had more complaints on this project than any project in history. We have 570 properties, and we estimate we've had about 570 complaints.
Wow.
So they've all been handled by staff and the contractor, as I believe, to the property owner's satisfaction. So I do want to thank the staff and commend them for doing a great job with this project. With everybody being home and watching everything that they do, there's a lot more complaints, of course. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions on the BC2 project and the engineer's report.
Any questions on the mini basin construction project as presented here by Mr. Weaver?
If not, I just have two other brief reports, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I'm happy to show the board that we did receive approval letters from DEP for the BC and PC cap amendments, the table amendments that we reviewed with the board in April. Essentially, the BC cap amendment was important because that extended the time needed to complete the BC7 project from 2023 to 2024. If you scroll down just a little right there, you can see that the original completion date was 2021. If you scroll down, you can see that it is now 2024. One more page down there, right there. So BC7 now is 2024. So that gives us more time to get that out to bid and have the construction completed. And with Dolly having to do work into May next year, that's good. And then also in Paxton Creek, as the board may recall, we did some restructuring on mini basins, and DEP did not have any issues. And then finally, as Mr. Judd had pointed out, with all that table discussion and all the program costs, he thought that we needed to push out more to the public all this information. So I have to give kudos to the communications manager. She developed an infographic that she actually did show Mr. Judd. So he has reviewed this, and I'm happy to to show this to the board, and this will be posted on the webpage tomorrow. But basically, this just shows what we went over at the April meeting, that we've accomplished a lot in the last 20 years. We have 270 miles of sewer. We replaced 57. 16 million gallons has been removed. We have 8 million left. And we have replaced 65% of all private sewers. And I know dear to the supervisors is that we replaced 42 miles of roads, and we have 30 left. So when we're done, we'll have 72 miles of the roads paved, which is about 26.5 of the total township streets. Total cost is 170 million, and we've spent about 95 million to date. So again, thanks to Leanne for getting that together.
That is pretty cool.
Yes.
So, yeah, very well done.
That concludes my township reports. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Weaver on the on his township reports? All right, hearing none. Auden, what do you want to talk about in the engineer's report?
Thank you. I mean, the engineer's report, it was submitted. I don't think there's anything really pressing in there that we need to discuss in detail, but if you have questions, I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Whittle on the engineer's report?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I do have one comment on the engineer's report because it's a little unusual. At the end of the report, there is a memo in there regarding the proposed SWAT-era dryer, which is $5.9 million. So I asked GHD to certify what their study is and what it cost, and they have done that. So moving forward, we are looking at other options to discuss with SWAT-era, potentially a regional solid waste handling facility that may be more cost effective. They're not really prevalent in the state or in the country. There's only a few around the country. They really don't get much traction because of, political boundaries and that sort of thing. And we don't even know if it's cost effective. So I talked to GHD about it. It does at least bear talking to SWAT-era and some other partners. So I have been reaching out to CRW and Derry Township, and if it gets any legs, we will certainly apprise the board if it is beneficial for us to participate in a regional study.
Okay. Mr. Weaver, thank you. Any further questions on the engineer's report for the sanitary sewer fund? All right. Well, that was a quick meeting. What time is it right now? It says 7:28, so we will be done by no later than 7:30. Does Township Manager have anything you want to add? You sure? You're looking good as usual. Could you? You're all dressed up. Lower Paxton Police, anything they want to add? Nope, they're good too. Okay. Any board member comments before we adjourn?
I would just like to say thank you to Mr. Weaver and his staff. They're doing such a phenomenal job. Thanks.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you
I
for that.
will.
You get the complaints, right?
You're very good at responding to those, too. So.
Yeah, you took care of 570 of them.
I just want to give a shout out over here to Shelly too. She does a great job taking the notes. She's here
That's
every
right.
every time I'm here. She's just making things happen. So I just want to give you a shout out
That's it.
on TV.
You're just trying to get to 7:30, aren't you?
Just trying to get to 7:30. It's 7:29. All right. No further. If there's no further comments, I'll take a accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.